No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.
We're back, people. We are back. Pops, tell them where you been at.
Wow, which time? I mean, it's been, it was a crazy run with my buddy and his new kidney, and he's doing awesome.
Great.
And his donor's doing awesome. So that was, we were pretty blessed to do that, you know, through the Thanksgiving holiday and that. That was, it was a great 6 weeks to do. I'm so glad that Cheryl and I were in a position to do that for him. It was very rewarding, very rewarding.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, as you know, we just got back from Hawaii. So we land in Omaha Sunday and it's 8 degrees. And we left, it was 78 degrees on Kauai. So it was a little culture shock. And I told Cheryl when we landed, I said, you know, just think about it, honey. We're only going to be here for 11 days and we're heading to Arizona.
11 days. 11 days. Arizona. What part of Arizona?
Chandler, Arizona. So in the valley.
How far is that from Sonoma? Or Sedona? From Sedona.
Oh, it's probably 3 hours.
Okay.
No, Sedona's north.
It's not crazy.
No.
I like Sedona. I've never been, but I want to. But I know all of the, like the ley lines and all the. There's so much spiritual stuff in Sedona. It's a spiritual place.
It is, and it's a beautiful place. And it's a beautiful place. You know, this time of year they can get more weather, but you know, to be there in the spring or fall,
Yeah.
early spring, early like March would be a perfect time to be up there. You know, March, April. You get very late, then it starts getting hot up there because it's high desert.
Sure.
But it's really pretty, really pretty.
I need to. So there's like Lake Havasu. Is that by there? Or
Lake
Havasu?
Lake Havasu. That's
Lake Havasu?
That's west further. Yeah.
West further. I really want to go. So there's this, like you have to sign up like 2 years in advance, and then you can hike this like really sweet trail, and it's on a native reservation, and it's, you know, like there's just a bunch of almost untouched type water and stuff to go and look at, explore, and I want to do it bad.
Yeah, there's some really pretty stuff. I mean, the western part of the United States, I mean, it's most of it's federal land and native land, which, you know, federal land's native land, or native land's federal land, controlled by,
Sure.
unfortunately.
Sure. You know, reservations are so different because they're supposed to be sovereign land. And so, like, for example, when I'm in Pine Ridge in South Dakota, you're not in the USA. You're in Lakota territory. And that's wild. It's kind of like Puerto Rico. Like, I think of it, or like Guam or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like a territory, but it's like they run their own government, they do their own thing. But when
Within guidelines, though.
yeah, but if they want to, at any time the feds can come in and do what they want. But so they have the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So they're like their police force, their federal police force or whatnot. And then they have the tribal police and like tribal councils and things like that. But it's just so weird because, or I don't want to say weird, but it's just different.
Yeah.
It's different because the people there, they really understand, and they say, you know, we're our own sovereign nation, right? But that being said, there's so many natives that were and do serve in the armed forces. And so you see a lot of American flags right next to like their Lakota flags, and to their like Pine Ridge, for example, they have a flag that represents the 9 districts of Pine Ridge. So they have like these Pine Ridge flags, and then they have the American flags, and they coexist in just it's just a different kind of weird thing happening there.
It would be really interesting to roll back the clock and literally have given them territory that we didn't govern, and they could have their own country, and how that would turn out versus what we did to them by taking everything from them, shoving them in a place that they didn't think would ever be productive.
Sure.
And then just giving them money.
Sure. And you know, it's tough too, right? Because if you give someone money without resources, without a means to produce for themselves, then they're always dependent. It's always dependent. It's tough. It really, really, really is tough. And then if you're dependent, and then if you have some type of land rights, you have almost no choice but to sell your land rights to others because you're starving. It's a sad thing. It really is a sad thing. But what I guess I'm always so impressed with is the pride that the people keep.
Mm-hmm.
They keep the pride. They keep their culture. They don't.
And many are extremely hardworking.
Oh man, the thing is, I think it's tough too because our society, how we run, just isn't how they run. Like, well, I don't want to say they, as in like I'm grouping all different native nations together. But for example, Oglala Lakota, historically, were really big on hunting, and they had hunting grounds, and through the hunt, the men hunted, and when they wanted them to change to agricultural farmers, it just wasn't in their culture to be big scale agricultural farmers. Like, of course, there was natural or native foods that they farmed, right? But not on that,
Not commercial.
Not commercial in the
commercial
agricultural
row
way that we do. Yeah, it's just different. So this had,
Yeah, like I said, my good friend
just
did a whole bunch
different.
of irrigation projects on reservation ground, and I don't think they're having a white man farm it now. They did for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he was teaching them, and I think now they've kind of taken that over because they were, starting off they didn't own any equipment, and then they started buying the equipment. It became more and more share crop, more and more, and then I think he's finally out of it. And they raised a ton of popcorn up there.
really,
Yeah.
I tell you, it's something I know that everybody can change, or they can evolve or whatever into something different. And sometimes I'm thinking, we just try to force what we think is best on people. It's kind of like a lot of humans do that. A lot of humans try to force what they think is best on other people.
Well,
You just sent me a clip the other day of and I guess it isn't just one way, right? It goes both ways. Both parties try to force things on others, but it seems like, I think especially right now, because of the last 4 years and sometimes the 4 years before that in particular the left or the Democrats, they really try to force a lot of things on others, like our way or the highway, right? But it's tough too, because then you hear from people on the other side of the aisle. They say, well, the right tries to force restricting abortion rights on others.
yeah.
It's tough to me because that's just so much different to me. We're trying. I said we're, like I'm the right. I guess a lot of times I lean more right. But that being said, it's tough because at the end of the day, I still think when we force a law on someone like no murder, right? Are you forcing a law on someone that says you can't murder, or are you advancing or advocating for like civil society?
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument on both sides of that as always. But we kind of have all of these quandaries that we back ourselves into. So we're going to have a law that says if you murder someone, you're going to die. Capital punishment.
Yeah.
Biblically, eye for an eye.
Okay.
Maybe I get that, but it's the same thing of, we're going to, if you kill somebody, we're going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with some of those things.
Does that seem old world to you?
Well, it does, but at the same time, having people rot in prisons isn't very smart either.
It's kind of old world too.
Yeah, I mean,
And then we pay for it.
yeah.
But man, we pay a lot to kill somebody too.
Well, by the time it goes through the process,
It's
not
like
like-
more expensive than.
it's not like it used to
It's
be.
not like you just hang them and
yeah,
over.
it's not like it's a public hanging or a public execution. Boom, boom, over. We spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to get to that point. I mean, what would Biden just pardoned? How many
Hey, 2 of the people on death row he pardoned
said no?
said no. What? Why? How? I don't know much. I didn't read into it. Like, who were these people? Why do they just have so much on the conscience that they're like, no, I don't deserve to get out? Like, what happened?
I mean, that would be my guess. Is they just said, hey, I don't want to. I don't deserve to get out. I want to die. I don't want to go back into society.
Or was it this? Was it he just said, was it commuting the sentence of death, but you stay in jail?
Yeah, some of
Is
those
that,
are that. Yeah,
is that probably what it was? Like, no, just kill me. I don't want to stay in this. I don't want to stay in jail. Just kill me. So Papa John used to have this sticker on the wall, and maybe he had it on his bumper sticker too. And I know it was a magnet on the fridge, and it says, "Why do we kill people who kill people to teach people that killing people is wrong?" It stuck with me my whole life. It's like a riddle, right? And it's so. For example, Dick Gregory, Brother Dick Gregory. I love Brother Dick Gregory. Rest in power. He was a strong advocate against the death penalty, against capital punishment, to such a far extent that, and if you don't know Dick Gregory, a legendary civil rights leader, did all the marches. He funded a lot of the civil rights movement. He was amazing. Like when John F. Kennedy stopped giving people in Mississippi and in Georgia and other places food, what we know now is EBT. Before, they would just send like actual food, right?
Yeah. Flour,
rice, and beans and meat in a can and things like that. When people were trying to fight for the voting rights, it was his decision. They stopped sending those commissaries, or they stopped sending those to the South, to those black people who needed it to live, and literally stopped because they were doing protests and trying to get their voting rights. I know we all look at JFK as like this hero, but he literally was starving black people out because they were trying to get their voting rights. Then Dick Gregory, he picked up the tab, like was spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars still sending the food. So like he's that type of guy, and it's in unclassified records now and phone records. JFK was like, we have to go ahead and put and start sending the food again because that N-word Dick Gregory is getting too much good press sending the food to the people. So Dick Gregory was like that. Dick Gregory got the official autopsy from the Malcolm X assassination that was proved in court to be done by the CIA. Now, Dick Gregory, so he's that guy. But Dick Gregory, he would go and protest at death sentences when somebody was going to get executed. And he would protest and pray with the families of white supremacist KKK members, other terrorists that had killed black people and got sentenced to death, which is like very rare that actually happened. They'd get sentenced. But he was so against the death penalty that he would go and protest against them killing a terrorist who killed black people for race reasons. That's how against the death penalty was. Like, that's like a real upstanding type guy. Like, he just stands on your morals. It's like, I don't care what the situation is.
Yeah.
You're not going to kill somebody because they killed. Like, totally. But so that type of, commitment, right, against the death penalty, that always struck me as so strange because I'm just not that strong of a person.
Well, it'd have to take somebody with not only huge internal strength, but they had to have some financial strength. They had to have some morals that were...
His faith has to be strong.
Yeah.
He always used to say the universal God. He said the same universal God created Jesus, created Hitler. I said, man, that brother, I don't know.
That's a true story, though.
I mean, that brother is something different. I say, wow. It is. It's just, it's still too mature for me, I think.
Well, but I look at it, though, in creation, who's more innocent than a baby?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have no belief system yet.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing. And they're happy if they're full.
See, that's where the born in sin thing is tough for me.
Yeah.
Because the baby, I guess I've never understood that. I've never been able to wrap my head around that either. Of the baby is somehow born in sin. I don't know. I feel like you're taught that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like unwed mothers in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s even. I don't like unwed mothers, but I understand them more today than I did probably when I was in my teens. Committing marriage because you're bringing another human into this world may not be the right thing.
It's tough because I want to I've worked with so many youth.
Yeah.
And you can tell almost, 99% of the time, you can tell who has a 2-parent household and who doesn't. And I understand that marriage just lays a foundation for a partnership, but it can be unhealthy as well.
I was going to say healthy marriage.
Yeah, healthy. Yeah,
healthy marriage.
Yeah.
Leads
But if you get
to-
married just to get married,
yeah.
I don't know. It's tough because some people do get married just to get married, and then they learn to love each other, right?
Yeah.
And they grow in love,
Because they were willing to and wanted to.
Sure.
That means that both of them changed and gave. As you know, in any relationship, it's give and take world, man.
See, I think in my personal experience, right? I've always liked the idea of marriage, and I always wanted to get married. I think that I'm be honest, right? Part of me not getting married right away to Megan was I felt like people thought that I had to. And I think I have this like aversion to when somebody tells me like I have to do something or I have to do something a certain way. Then I'm like, well, F that.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to do it my way.
I was only that way when Nigel was on the way. I was like, all right, it's time.
Is it time?
It's time.
See,
But that's a father.
Sure. No. But like, okay, so I think of it, okay, like before I was a more mature father, right? It's hard to have that perspective, right? Because I'm like, shit, I'm gonna do this on my time when we want to do it because we're gonna do it the way we want to do it. As like I'm thinking now, I'd lose my shit if my daughter was getting pregnant without having a husband, like 100%, right? So I see all these things so differently from back in the day. It's mind blowing how different I see it.
Do you remember at your wedding, you and I sat in the front row afterwards. We were chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I leaned over, gave you a hug, shook hands, and I said, you're going to be part of our family as long as you never hurt my daughter. And you looked at me and said, Pops, I get it. I got one now. Maybe you don't remember that, but I remember that like it was yesterday.
I smoke a lot of weed, so I probably forget.
But
No, my memory's horrible.
But it was, raising kids helps you mature.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some men aren't ready to mature, so they could be a father, but that doesn't mean that they're part of the family unit because they're not ready to mature.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And that's
100%.
And that's why
100%.
that was why we held back our youngest son, so that he was like the second oldest kid in his class. And my wife, being in education, was like, well, he's going to get bored in school. I said, we have to make sure that he doesn't get bored in school, but the extra maturity will help him all the way through high school and all the way through college. After that, it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
But that extra maturity
Yeah.
served him very well.
100%. I'm thinking when it comes to another thing that my grandfather used to have. I was just with Papa John today, so he's fresh in my mind. So another thing he used to have this it was something on the wall, and it was a saying. He had a lot of sayings all everywhere, and it said, "Any man can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad."
Yeah.
Right? Like, because anybody can spread their seed, but it really takes a real man to be a real dad, a present dad, a daddy.
And it's hard in life as you go through things of, are you being a really good dad, because you're working 70 hours? Are you, because, you're present, you're missing some of those things. And to me, that was a big struggle as I was working my way up through a career and working my way, into being a good father, a good dad, trying to provide well for my family. But that's a tough balance. It's making more money can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah,
but it can create some problems too.
Yeah, 100%. More money, more problems. I don't know if I should have said that. I think Diddy's in trouble right now.
He's a little bit in hot water.
But I always like to say alleged.
Yeah.
Until it's all the way gone. Until it's all the way there. But forget that. But no, that's so serious, because I think that's something that any man that cares struggles with.
Yeah.
Like any father that cares, any dad that cares struggles with. Providing for the family in one way is the money. And then the other way is the time and the presence. And our society's set up just so strange. And so for you, like, I always looked at you like, man, that's a super successful guy, right? I always looked like, man, that is success, right? Financially stable, happy, you can get whatever you want. Like, that's success. And then sometimes you tell me, you're like, well, I don't know. I spent a lot of time away from home. I was on the road a lot. I missed a lot of things. And it's like, I think about that like, man, like, what is success?
Yeah, I mean, I missed a lot of things with Megan growing up. Mm-hmm. That as I grew in my career more, I was able to plan better because I was planning my own time instead of somebody else planning on my time. Mm-hmm. So I did a little bit better with Mariah, and I did a lot better with Zach. But, they were 4 years apart. So that 12-year span, our life changed a lot. Mm-hmm. I think I was a good provider, but that doesn't always mean that you're a good dad.
Well, provider, there's no question.
Yeah.
There's no question. You don't have to think.
Yeah.
Right. And then also too, shoot, you don't. I really think of it like this. Do your kids have trauma? No. I'm married to your daughter.
Yeah.
No.
They may say they do for something.
No. We've had conversations about this. Really.
Not trauma like real trauma.
Yeah. But like even like there's. When people look back at their lives and they say, were my parents demeaning? Were my parents, did they make me feel like of less? And, when Megan, whenever she talks about something that happened, she's like, I was messing up, or something like that. Now, of course, we could all do better. We could all handle things better. I think of so many times I could have handled things better with my kids or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But the premise was right. Like the lesson you're trying to teach was correct. Whether it was it. And like I said, a lot of it was, she's probably doing a lot of that stuff because of me. but for real. But the lessons, the things that were trying to be had were correct.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the difference of trauma a lot of times is that when parents are doing things or being hard on their kids or whatever it is for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
I'm sure Megan has told you more than once. I told her and her sister, but it was Megan a lot, that it was, I know you think I hate you right now, mm-hmm. but it's actually that I love you that much.
Yeah.
And that was a true statement for me. I loved them so much that mm-hmm. I did not want to see them go down those paths.
Sure.
Or do those things. And so their punishment may be they had to stay home or they didn't get their car. They, stuff happened, but.
Normal shit. That's normal.
But it was, but I wanted her to understand and our other kids to understand, I'm doing this because I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing this because I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I really care about you and love you, and mm-hmm. that's why I'm going to punish you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure
or discipline. I want to say discipline. Yeah, discipline.
Yeah, well, discipline, punishment.
Well, I really like to, my therapist brain, my parenting brain, my, academic brain likes to always set that apart, right? Punishment, you're aiming to cause pain.
Yeah.
Discipline, root word disciple, you're aiming to teach.
Yeah.
And I know you weren't aiming to cause pain.
No.
You're aiming to teach. So that's the difference.
I was aiming to make them uncomfortable in the teaching moment so that they could
mm-hmm.
understand the outcomes if they continued on that path.
Yeah.
A great movie. I don't know if did you ever see the movie Scared Straight?
Wait, wasn't that like a TV show?
No, there was actually an old movie, Scared Straight.
Oh, no. I didn't see the
old movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
Prison guys, just talking to regular people, telling them all the crazy shit.
So they made that a series too.
Oh, they did that?
Yeah. They have kids go to the prison and people yell at him like going crazy. Like, yeah, like you're gonna be my bitch if you come in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat you for lunch. You're gonna be washing my underwear and yeah. all
You know,
that.
I wasn't always after, you know, that approach, but I wanted them to understand that really the world was really their oyster. It's all they had to do was follow some really simple rules.
Sure.
And you know, I don't even want to, you know, because they weren't all based in a specific faith or in a specific thing, but they were good societal rules that good mature people do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we are afraid as a society now to discipline our kids correctly. And I think a lot of that comes from we just got soft. We're just soft, man.
Well, from what I can tell,
For real.
the people that are disciplining their kids have gotten so mad that it becomes really, really not a teaching moment, more of a venting at the start.
Yeah.
And that's always a tough place to be for any discipline.
Sure.
I don't care if that's employee, employer, it's
Right.
if it's a spousal, if it's kids, whatever it is. Anytime you do it because you're that angry,
Yeah.
you got to stop and cool off and get your head straight, and then treat it like a conversation.
100%. Like you can't discipline out of anger.
No, you can be upset and mad at the time of doing it, but you can't be to the point of anger.
Yes.
And
No,
I-
100%. You can't act that discipline out in anger. You have to just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a maturity thing too. It's so tough.
Yeah,
Megan and I talk about that. We say, look, before we jump on the kids, we have to just hold on, chill for a minute, talk about this with each other. Then let's go back and figure out how to discipline correctly.
well, and to me, it's so much fun now to watch you and Megan with the kids. Because Megan did some of the same things that she gets all upset about. And I kind of smile and she's like, I know, Dad, I know. But, you know, it's okay.
Yeah. You know, it's different too with boys, I think.
It is.
Boys, it just really is. It really is different with boys. And I don't know. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but you don't treat everybody the same. It just is. I mean, any great coach, you don't coach Michael the same way you coach Rodman. You know, Rodman's going to go to Vegas and do his thing. He'll come back and he'll grab 23 rebounds.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan, he needs to be at practice. Scottie Pippen, he needs to be at practice.
Yeah.
Rodman, he can be in Vegas. But you can't coach the whole team the same.
No.
You really can't.
No. I mean, I guess that's the cool thing about humans. We're all uniquely different. We have some similar features. Your kids kind of look like you. You know, you kind of have some of those from the gene pool perspective. But that's why I said the baby, completely innocent, undeveloped, doesn't know anything. And as parents, we have an opportunity to mold that person into being a good human being,
Sure.
into, you know, having a good value system,
Yeah.
you know, into all of those things that become important when they get into their 20s.
Yes. 100%.
You know, when they have to start adulting.
Which is tough. So let's go back to that question then. Okay, so you have the baby, or you have, okay, because we kind of got on through abortion.
Yep.
Now, abortion, let's say, my body, my choice. Now, me personally, right, it's no secret, right? I don't care. You can call me an anti-vaxxer if you want to. That's just fine, right? I'm sure. I'm anti-thimerosal. I'm anti-polysorbate 80. I'm anti-aborted fetal cells tissue being shot into me. Sure. So you can call me anti-vaxxer. Now, when I say I want body autonomy and not to have someone force something on my body, right? And then some women will say, well, I need body autonomy to not have you force your beliefs on my body. I'm raising or incubating a life inside of me that cannot survive without me, without my incubation. without the things that I'm giving to it, why can't I choose to not do that with my own body? Which I think is a valid question, and I struggle with it.
Well, and to me, if we're going to allow that, have that, then out of wedlock, the father should have zero rights with the child, financial responsibility, anything. If the mother's saying, "Hey, he was a sperm donor, and I want to end this pregnancy," then all of them are that way, and there should be no mandatory, "Hey, I had a one-night stand, or I had a relationship with this woman. She gets pregnant, and now she decides she wants to keep the baby, and I have to pay $1,000 a month for 18 years."
Yeah. And I mean, I agree on that premise. And so you're saying is like, basically you have to give a trade-off then.
Well,
If you're going to say that the father, so for example, woman is pregnant, the father of the child wants the baby to happen. They want to bring it to term and to raise the child. The woman wants an abortion. The woman gets to choose totally. So the father can't choose. Now, the woman has a baby. The father doesn't want it. The father can't go and kill the baby. It's murder. The father kills the baby in vitro. It's murder. You get in big trouble.
yep.
If you kill a woman who's pregnant, you get double homicide.
Yeah, and so that's my...
So there's the double standard there. That's
yeah,
tough.
Yeah, so if murder is killing a human being, if she's pregnant and I kill her and the baby, why is that two murders? And one side of it is, it's not a baby.
It's just some cells. It's just a clump of cells.
What they always say, yeah. I don't know any other clumps of cells that move around that aren't going to have...
That in 5 weeks have a heartbeat or something.
Yeah,
Or 6 weeks. Or...
and it's interesting to me as, humans are the only mammals that can't survive at all. Baby bears,
Yeah.
they walk within hours. Horses, cattle, yeah, they need nutrition, but that nutrition does not have to come from mom. That nutrition you bottle feed calves all the time. But human babies aren't mobile till they're, somewhere between 9 and 12 months old before they're even mobile.
I mean, and that's not even...
Yeah, that's not even really mobile.
It's not,
mobile.
Yeah, that's like pretend walking around.
So
Yeah.
that's the double standard where, I think it's a baby. I think it's human life. You can call it a clump of cells. You can call it whatever. But if we let that go to term, that's going to be a baby.
100%.
And I think one of the things that we have messed up in our country is our adoption laws. People that can't adopt a baby in the United States for whatever reason, they go adopt a baby from China or from some other country. We have tons
Lots of babies in
of opportunities here.
Yeah. We do.
And to me, again, as I've told you many times, I've never been black in my entire life.
Sure.
But to me, abortion started off...
You should try it.
Yeah, I'll just get in trouble if I even pretend. Those are big fouls now, man.
If you try it. No, but I'm telling you, babe.
But
it's taxing.
But to me, the crazy part about it was when abortion first started. To me, it seemed to have a lot more to do with keeping the African American population from growing, and I think that statistically today is still the same thing.
Total eugenics. Eugenics. Total eugenics push. Margaret Sanger. Total eugenics push. Planned Parenthood founder. She was a member of the what's it called? The wives of the KKK or the ladies of the KKK. Something like sisters of the KKK or whatever. She I mean her books. I have multiple of her books, and one of her biggest quotes is "Exterminate the weeds."
Yeah.
And that's black people.
Yeah.
Anybody who has a mental disability, or a handicap, or a physical handicap, it was just exterminate the weeds. And so even if you were a person that had, say, a physical handicap, right, for whatever it was, maybe, whatever it is, then she believed you need to be sterilized, right? Not even have, so no, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think a lot of people, marketing is huge, right? I do a lot of marketing, and they marketed the women's suffrage movement was really part of that was marketed first thing with Virginia Slims, which is wild, but a lot of that too was marketed towards like, you don't need a husband, you don't need babies, you don't need to be a mother, which of course I'm for women's suffrage. Everyone should be able to vote who's of age, who's living under a society of a democracy. But I do see that turn of devaluing life within that movement. And she really hijacked that movement, pretty huge. It's kind of like a BLM type hijacking that she did. And she truly hijacked that movement and then added the eugenics to it and the push for you should abort your baby. To now, to where so many women see abortion as normal.
Well,
Normal, not like the ultimate.
not hidden. It's a very normal.
Well,
thing.
not only that, but the ultimate fallback or the ultimate alternative, where it's like, this is for the cases of incest, extreme medical necessity, things like that, to where now it's just no, like,
I'm going to decide.
Yeah, like, I had a one night stand. Oh well, I'll just have an abortion. Or I was with this guy, we wanted a baby. Now I don't like him anymore. F him. So I'm just going to abort the baby. And I know some people may look at me like I'm being unsympathetic or whatnot. I don't really care because I'm that, I guess, sympathetic towards life. A lot of people who, like, I don't know, some of the biggest artists that I like, right, do talk about, like, man, I'm glad my mom couldn't afford the abortion. Like, she wanted to get an abortion. She said she just couldn't afford it. Thank God. Thank God she couldn't afford the abortion.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like wild. And now you can go get abortions for free, literally.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood. No. It's free because they sell your body parts.
Yeah. Well, but it's all subsidized with our tax money.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So it's
I guess
not
nothing's
free.
free. Nothing's free. So not only they subsidize it with your tax money, but then they sell the aborted body parts, which is illegal, but they do it to the vaccine industry. I know I keep going back to that. You call me anti-vax if you want. That's fine. That is just fine. I'm cool with that label. Now that brings us to the question then. So if I say that I want body autonomy, right? It's for me only. It's really hard for me to get on board saying that the body inside your life is not its own life. Even if it is supported by you. So I support my kids still, right? Okay, 6 months old. Just like you said, right? At 6 months old, my kids cannot support themselves. They can't do anything for themselves. But if I let them sit there and die, I get child neglect and murder. Manslaughter at the least.
Yeah.
At the least. So what's the difference? I hope somebody comments the difference.
Yeah, because to me, it's just crazy. I mean, I get the 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
But the 98% that's being used as birth control.
Yeah.
That's what drives me crazy.
Well, and then there's so many people that say that never happens. Oh, 7 month term. No one's having abortions at 7 months, and no one's having but that's bullshit.
They are.
It's happening. It's very sad. And again, I'm not talking about your medical necessity. I'm not talking about when the mother's going to die or the baby is not going to make it to term, or there's a very, very high probability of complications. That's not what
No.
we're talking about here,
No,
right?
we're not talking about the 1%, 2%.
We're not.
We're talking about the 98%. And you know, it's crazy. It's like Biden commuting these sentences from people that are going to stay in prison now. All but 2 of them, right? They're going to stay, or they're just going to still go for the death penalty. 'Cause they don't want to just live in prison for the rest of their lives.
Man.
You know, I don't know. I mean, the death penalty in me is it's a quandary, and that if we're going to have a death penalty, we need to have like term limits on it. You know, give them 2 appeals and move on with it. You shouldn't sit on death row for 20 years.
So what about the folks, which we've seen it happen, right? Where 30 years later, DNA evidence overturns it, and they really were innocent. Or, you know, I'll take it back to this. A guy in 1970, a black guy in 1970 is convicted by an all-white jury in Georgia. Death penalty. 30 years later, they find that everyone was lying, and they have to let him go. How many of those people have been put to death?
Yeah.
How many of those people have been put to death?
Well, what about the 4 fraternity brothers at Duke University, and now the gal comes out and says,
Remember that?
and that's been almost 30 years ago. Those guys have been in prison for 30 years, 20 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Long time.
I was in high school at least.
And she's like, yeah, I lied.
I remember.
And she's like, I lied. And those guys were convicted.
Yeah.
And they were guilty before anything ever started.
100%.
Because of the accusation.
From the media. The media
Yeah.
will convict you right away.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And that was, I couldn't believe that they got convicted. But that being because the media just hopped on it and made it happen, then that jury you can't filter that out. You cannot filter that out. You really can't.
Nope.
You really can't. Or, what's the New York 5?
Yeah.
Or the New York 6 or whatever that Trump put out the whole
Yep.
page banner said kill him. A lot of people like bring that up to me whenever they talk about Trump. And I'm like, yeah, he made a mistake. I'm pretty sure he said he made a mistake too. But, everybody makes mistakes. He is the same guy that supported Mike Tyson when he was in jail too. Whatever. But just saying, our justice system is not perfect. And you're never going to be 100%. So then that gets us back to it. If we know that you can't be 100% in so many different instances, right? I bring up an instance of the racial history. You bring up an instance of, that was a black girl, and those are like 3 or 4 white dudes at Duke, right? What do you have I know we've all heard the story of the one guy who was freaking the star athlete, football player guy. He gets accused of the rape. No, this was a different one.
Oh,
this is a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. He was star athlete football. He was like number 1 recruit. He was gonna go, I forget where. Maybe it was Alabama. Maybe it was LSU or something. He was gonna go some big school. Again, happens to him too. And then he actually through years later, where he was in jail, he was in the library and was communicating through Facebook or something, or he had one of the social medias, and she tried to friend him. And then they start talking, and then he's like, why'd you do that? And she admits it all in the writing that, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that, or whatever. And then he gets overturned. So, yeah, so how many guys, how many people, how many women, whoever, were convicted by a jury of their peers, thrown away to the death penalty, and then we kill an innocent person? Is it worth it to have the death penalty if there's chances we're killing innocent people?
Were the people... So I think the death penalty should be there for murder.
Okay.
Was that an innocent person that died?
What do you mean?
You shoot me.
Okay.
I'm dead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we don't want to have the death penalty. So was I an innocent person too? But I'm already dead.
Sure.
You already unalived me.
Sure. Unalived is the weirdest word ever.
I know.
It's so weird.
It's like the cultured thing now, unalived. And to me, dead.
I know. I should be laughing at that, but it's so weird.
Yeah.
Unalived, it kills me. Okay.
But and then I see the same thing of, the cops shooting somebody, which is cops killing somebody is actually extremely rare to their interaction.
Okay.
I mean, it's an extremely rare.
I think this year is like 1,400 people or something, or maybe it's 2,100 people this year. This year is one of the two. Is it 14 or 21? I just saw the thing. But when it comes to interactions, there's millions of interactions.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a low percentage of deaths by cops, and I think cops killed in action this year was like 400 or something. That was like the discrepancy. It was. I just saw it on some social media. I guess I didn't research the number, but however it goes, that number is very rare. The number is very rare.
Yeah. So it was like police shot 956 people to death in 24. In 23, it was 1,100 and some change.
I'm gonna look at that. However it goes, very rare. You could say about 1,000 people a year. Now, of course, to that 1,000 families, right?
Yeah.
That's, huge, right? So keep going with that. So the cop kills somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that 99.9% of the time the cop just walks up and shoots somebody. Something happened to move that along. I don't think that happens. Now, I think back in the 50s and 40s, I think there was a lot of that. But I don't think today cops are walking up, drawing their gun, and shooting somebody, and asking questions later.
I would say yes. I would say definitely that happens a lot. I would say probably at least a third of those were probably non-warranted killings of innocent people. Just from my experience alone. I'm not a bad guy, and I've been treated horribly by about a third of the cops that I come across. Luckily, I'm not dead. Yes, I've had a gun drawn on me by police, which over while we were having just literally regular conversations from a pullover. Has a cop ever pulled a gun on you in a pullover?
Nope.
And you're way older than me. You had a lot more chances at it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Here, one moment though.
Oops.
Too loud. Oh yeah, we're still going too. It's good.
Yeah, we're still rolling.
Hey girl.
So it looks like cops, let's just look at here in the last 10 years, 133 to 600 was the high. So 21 was 600 was the high. So
600 cops killed?
yeah,
Yeah.
in the same scenario. So it's about 10%. It'd be kind of a high number, I think, if we looked at it realistically. So there was 1,000 roughly average, and the cop average is probably 200 at most in the last 10 years. Take out that anomaly of the great big one.
Sure.
So that's 20% of those, probably same interactions that a cop dies.
And cops, again, I mean, cops sign up to deal with the worst of the worst. That's what they sign up for. I don't sign up as a citizen to be abused by cops.
Nope.
Right? And so that's the thing that I kind of always say and go against this. It's, of course, I don't want to innocent anybody to die.
Yeah.
At all. I'm not excusing anybody just killing a cop. That being said, as well, that's why we call them heroes. Because they sign up to, like, one of my best friends, literally, one of my best friends is a cop, right? I pray for him every night that he goes out. I do. And he tells me this. He says, Ishma, the amount of people, the amount of cops I see go out there and deliberately disrespect and take the integrity out of people is outstanding. He said, so many times I have to come to a call and correct a cop, even my superior, and just bring dignity back to the person. He says, and as soon as I do, just treat people with dignity, everything gets just de-escalated.
Yeah.
Now, he does tell me stories too where he's like, hey, the guy's being belligerent. I'm trying to be cool with him, and he makes a move. Now we're wrestling, and I'm fighting the guy, and he has me into this thing. He tries to put me in a headlock, and now I have to slam the dude. And he's like, yeah, that's when my shoulder's messed up, man. And I'm like, geez, man, what a crazy life you have, right? But he tells me so many stories of, look, I have to check these cops up for just being straight assholes. And this is a cop telling me. Now, I have a lot of interaction with the cops, not like bad interactions. Yeah. I'm friends with a lot of cops, right? Which is crazy because I never thought I'd be friends with a lot of cops. If you'd have told me that 10 years ago,
you're calling, man.
I'd been like, man, I'd have fought somebody that said I've been friends with a lot of cops. I'd be like, you're wrong. You are so wrong. But literally, I've had white cops tell me, hey, I have had to grow to stop my training, which I was trained by my superiors, that if you just see a black guy walking at 2 a.m., you hit the block on him and you go by again. And he's like, why? What's he doing walking? Why is it? Literally, he said, I had to untrain myself of that, Ishma, because I understand that that's not how I should do it. Somebody's walking the street, he's not breaking a law. He can just walk. I don't have to have an explanation of why he's out walking at whatever time it is. It's not against the law to walk. It's not against the law to walk at 2 a.m. or, whatever it is. And so that's like the insight that I have, where I have real cops, white and black, but white guys tell me, look, I not only have I seen the racism, but I've been an active part in it. And, and I've had to grow out of that. Now, so like when people say, oh, I think it happens in the 50s or happened in the 60s, right? I say like this. You raised your son, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. You raised your son in a certain way. And your son, in a lot of ways, is who he is because of how you raised him. He's a good father. He provides. He plays by the book, right? I mean, probably more than you, right? Just a straight shooter, right? Good guy, straight shooter. Now, if you are a racist man and you raise your son as a racist, so those guys in the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, they're racist. They're raising racist kids. They're a racist cop. This guy's going to be a racist cop.
That was the, our communication the other day was, I think racism has been generational, clear probably back to slavery. Mm-hmm. And, it's taken us 200 years to get this far. We got another 200 years to go to get it cleaned.
For anybody that says there isn't advancement, I think they're kidding themselves. There's clear advancement. There's clear progress.
Slower than shit.
Sure. Now, just like you said, like to a black person, like to me, like I cringe when I think that people think that racism isn't a factor. I just cringe. I'm like, because I deal with it almost daily.
Well, discrimination is still very much so. They're based on race, religion, gender.
Sure, but here's the thing. Gender-wise, I will say this. I think, and I've stood on this for a long time. I think America is more sexist than racist. It always has been. The founding fathers, they were racist, sure, but their daughters couldn't own property.
Yeah.
Okay, so just saying, right? So I definitely see that. Now, as we, I like to bring up things like, I was just talking to my grandpa today, again, Papa John. He's like, shit, when I was a realtor, I met so many clients who would not sell their house to a black person.
Yeah.
And they just outrightly told me. Now, that was the 90s, right? So, of course, there's still people like that. But that was the 90s. Now, I look at it and I say, a person like my father, right? When he first wanted, let's say if he had the means to buy a house in Lincoln and he wanted to live in Sheridan Boulevard, he couldn't. Like, there was still, in the deeds of the houses, they still had written in things that you couldn't sell to other than a white person in the 80s. In the 80s, right? So
little old Lincoln, Nebraska.
Little old, good old Lincoln. I call it good old Lincoln. I love Lincoln. Now, what's the biggest way, or most of America, right? Not real successful people like you. I mean, you have a lot of money in your house too, but most of America, I'd say 90% of America, what is their biggest form of equity?
Yeah, it's their home.
It's their home. What's their biggest form of passing along wealth? It's through their home.
Home.
Black people have missed that until now. Literally, until now. Unless you were very, very fortunate, really, to be honest, to be a homeowner in the South, right? Where I think there was more prosperity. A lot of people look at me crazy when I say that, but there's just more black people, more opportunity, more prosperity.
Yeah.
That being said, I understand why the Great Migration happened and all that, just to move to face more racism. But that's kind of what I always go back to is I'm the first generation that really had a chance on my father's side of the family. Like I'm the first. And I had a cheat code. I had white grandparents and a white mom. I had a cheat code. Like I was able to do certain things that other people couldn't just because I lived in a different world half the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I acknowledge that and I see that, right? And I look at the other brothers that are on my age or whatnot that didn't have that cheat code I had that are doing as good or better than me. And I say, man, what an amazing success. Like it's the first chance. Like literally, I'm the first generation of chance for a lot. Now I know they say, oh, Ishmael, there's a lot of successful people before you. Yeah, 100% there are. And I'm not saying that. You know, there are a lot of homeowners, a lot of people. I'm just saying when it comes to that advancement, that evolution of the country.
Well, and it's just taken a long time. I mean, like I said, it's pretty slow, and I get frustrated sometimes when we hijack it over issues that shouldn't be there.
So we did the worst thing for racism, not the worst, sorry. One of the worst frustrating thing is the bullshit where you blame something on race or you call something on race that isn't, then it kind of delegitimizes everything or like takes the impact away, right? From all the real racism.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Donald Trump's a racist. Well, he was only a racist when he became a Republican and ran for president.
This is true.
Prior to that, he was loved by...
He was. When he got the megaphone, he was saying some crazy shit.
Yeah.
He was. And I seen some of
And still is.
He is. And it's crazy because, man, like it's crazy. Okay, because my cousin, right, we'll debate about this all the time. He'll be like, no, Donald Trump's racist. I'm like, no, he's not. He's like, yeah, he is. I can't believe you think he isn't. I'm like, no, he's not. But shit, 8 years ago, whatever, when I was seeing those rallies, when he was kicking out the black girl of his thing and people were spitting on her and they were punching her and hitting her. I mean, I still cry thinking about it. And he was like, yeah, get her out of here. Get her out of here. Yeah, and he was egging them on to do that. And I'm like, shit. Like, it's hard. It's hard to see those actions and see someone supporting those actions against a queen, against a woman, right? A black woman, and to not think that race has a part to do with it. Because, I'm going to tell you why. Because you cannot find me a video of them treating a white woman like that. And that's where it's like, I lose the argument with him all the time. Well, he just has to bring that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't see the video, but to say that it has happened, I can't say that.
Okay. I mean, I can't say it either, but it isn't on video.
Yeah, I mean, just because...
And everything's on video.
Well...
Everything's on... I mean, I can't take a piss outside. I can't,
Far more things are on video today than what they were.
Everything's on video, man. Everybody has a phone.
Well, that's the crazy thing. To me, that's one of the craziest things. When there's a cop interaction threatening the cop or the citizen...
Mm-hmm.
Everything does that. Everybody does that. And they grab their phone, they want to videotape. They don't want to help anybody.
Sure.
Hey, we just want to videotape this. That's freaking bullshit. Help somebody.
That's trauma. Yeah. So trauma of this goes back. Okay. Let's talk about George Floyd. Right. I'm not talking about what was in the system, what wasn't, whatever. We're just talking about kneeing on a man's neck for 9 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that, right? And everybody who watched and everybody who had a camera phone. But what do you do? What do you do against the authority?
Push him off there.
So first, if you go as a citizen and you do that,
You're gonna get arrested.
if you go and assault a police officer, do you think you'll live
Yeah, you're gonna get arrested.
while he's doing that?
Yeah, they're not gonna shoot you.
I don't know. Okay, so me, right? I want to believe that I'll be man enough to stop it, right? Man, you got to put your life on the line.
and
You got to put your life on the
well,
line.
and
How many people are willing to put their life on the line?
my belief is, if it's my turn to go, I'm gonna go anyway.
So you think if you saw
I'm
that
not gonna,
happening,
I'm not gonna turn the other cheek.
if you saw that happening, you think you would go intervene?
There's gonna be verbal interaction going to physical
Something,
interaction.
something.
Yeah,
Man,
I mean that's one of the things that really
he's
pisses me off or
he's a tough
saddens
guy.
me.
He's a tough dude.
Or saddens me when I hear your stories or your stories with you and Megan. Shit never happens when I'm there.
Sure.
And and part of that really pisses me off because
So, like for example, at the track meet, when I was unlawfully detained and assaulted by the police, and literally broke no law, did nothing wrong, but track meet while black. You think you could have stopped them?
yeah, I had to intervened. Said, wait, what the hell's going on here? This is my son-in-law. That's his daughter. That's my wife. That's his wife. What the hell are you doing here, guys? I mean, what is happening? But instead, I was finishing up some work on my computer.
Sure.
Rain had just stopped. I hadn't heard any announcements. Nobody had texted me. You got a text from Megan. I didn't get a text from anybody. So you were 10 minutes in front of me, 5 minutes in front of me. And by the time I got there, it was over.
Sure.
And I was pissed, and the cops were gone.
Sure. I don't think that you could have stopped that. I like that you would have tried, but I don't think that you could have stopped that. And here's why. Because we have given the police this authority that makes them more, that puts their life at a higher value than the citizen. And I'm okay with calling police heroes, but I'm not okay with the way we've elevated them.
I think...
And what I'm saying is I think their attitude, right, was not going to let anyone stop them.
Yeah, I think we have bad cops and we have good cops.
Of course.
We have good white people and bad white people. We have good black people and good...
Of course, 100%.
But
Always.
But yeah, I would have put myself out there in the situation. What if I had done that 20 years ago? Probably not. Today, I'm I always want to say a better man, but I don't know if it's better. But I'm a different person, and I have a different perspective on things 60 than what I had at 20, 30, 40.
Which is what it should be.
But to me, those things happening, I just often wonder, what are they thinking? You know, I wish I knew the psyche of what that... Something happened to those cops somewhere in the preceding week, day, hour that had them on edge for a black man with long dreads. I don't know what it was, but they had something that added to that trigger.
So here's how I see it.
And maybe it was the woman at the gate that didn't want to let you in because your daughter, she didn't think they were throwing yet. I don't know.
It wasn't a woman. It was actually a dude. Which whatever it was. But which is crazy. That guy, if I see that dude, it's on site. I'm playing. But what I think is here's where I think it goes from, and I think that's legitimate too, because we like, I went through some cop training. Remember, I think I told you, and you go through things, go through, and then you just start reacting to things just because of what happened just a little bit ago. Then you react to something. But I think it goes deeper, and I really do. I think that it's a something that is in some people, not all people, but some people that literally see themselves as more. Like they just see themselves as more. And I think a lot of it stems from, and I go back to this, a lot of it I think stems from who's right and who's wrong. So we're taught all of our life that these certain people are right, and then by default, these other people are wrong. So even when they come to me and they say, hey, the question that they ask me, I say, no, I'm fine right here. You can ask me anything. You don't have to. No, you're going to come here now. No, you're with me now. Okay, what do you want? And then you start treating me however you want, doing things and assaulting me. Now, I think that if the same report, if they said, he came in when it wasn't supposed to be time yet, even though people were competing, right? He came in, it wasn't supposed to be time yet. I think if you did that, they would have approached you different, because in their psyche, you're right. In their psyche, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that goes way back to every day your hero is George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. And if you don't have experiences, positive experiences with black people, then you're just ingrained to these people are right. They can murder, they can kill, they can rape. They're right because it was only against black people.
Yeah, and to me, that's just wrong. But, a great cop story that I had, I was 16, 17 years old, snowy night, high school, David City.
Mm-hmm.
Go pick up one of my buddies. We're just out driving around, sliding corners, having fun. Small town, just good time.
Mm-hmm.
Go up in this newer neighborhood, kind of doing the same thing, sliding around. Go drop my buddy off. Go home. At the time, we were living above the business in an apartment. Park my car. Go upstairs. I'm home 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I may have even been in bed, but I don't know. I don't remember. And my dad says, Mark, come here. Frank Keith, who's a police officer, said you ran over a mailbox up in Bicentennial Circle. And I said, nope, I didn't. And he said, well, I won't say the owner's name, but he said he swore it was you. He described your car to a T and gave your license plate number. And I said, I'm telling you, Dad, I did not hit any mailbox.
Mm-hmm. Frank
Keith said, well, it's late tonight. We're going to have to give you a ticket tomorrow so you can get this taken care of for him. And I said, Dad, as far as I'm concerned, I'll spend all my savings to fight this because I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, and my dad believed me.
Sure.
So the next day, my dad he always had a post office box. So he goes to the post office box and says, hey, who delivers mail up there? Dad knew the guy that delivered mail up there.
Mm-hmm.
I knew his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just happened to drive around until he found him and said, hey, you've been delivering mail to this guy's place. Has his mailbox been on the ground? He said, oh, yeah, it's been on the ground for 2 weeks. Somebody knocked the post over.
Mm.
So my dad then went and found Officer Keith,
Mm-hmm.
told him exactly what he'd found out,
Mm-hmm.
and said, so now, Frank, I want you to apologize to my son, and I want that property owner to apologize to my son.
Mm-hmm.
My son did commit that he would see if he could find out who did it, and he would make sure that it got reinstalled properly, but he's got to apologize that it was not Mark Bell
Yeah.
who did it.
Yeah.
And it happened, actually knew who did it, found out who did it, went and bought the stuff, put it up, he paid for it. I put it up, kept his name completely out of it because there was no sense in throwing anybody under the bus. But that was my mistreatment and being not believed. And this was by a...
Did the cop apologize?
He did.
Mm.
Yeah, Frank apologized. And he made the homeowner apology, which was really, really hard on him because he had a clothing store in town. It was the only clothing store in town.
Uh-huh.
And it about killed him to apologize to a 17-year-old boy that he tried to throw under the bus.
Sure.
My dad was livid
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that they tried to set me up.
Sure.
So
So somebody in your town said that you did that and all that.
2,500 people.
Yeah.
You know
100%.
everybody.
No, 100%. And again, and the cop is just going off the guy's word and all that, said you're going to do these things and all that. Yeah, I mean, it sounded like things worked out.
They did, really, because I found out who did it, and I fixed the guy's mailbox. But I actually, my dad's like, "You gonna go put that mailbox up?" I think it was a Friday night, and I'm like, "No, he hasn't apologized to me yet."
Sure.
I said, "I'm not going up there and putting that up, Dad, till he apologizes, and he's going to apologize to me face to face. It's not going to be a phone call."
Yeah.
I mean, what he's drugged me through.
Yeah.
At this point, he's apologizing face to face. I don't care if he is a
Sure.
60-year-old guy.
Yeah, 100%.
And Dad's like, "Nope, you're right." And I said, "So once that apology happens, and I'd like you to be there for it, Dad. Once that apology happens, within 48 hours, unless I got a ball game or something, I'm out of town,
Yeah,
I'll make sure it's put up."
sure. Even
I
though you
did.
didn't even do it,
I didn't do it.
but you still put it up.
But it was a really good friend of mine that did.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew him. I don't want to get him in trouble.
Oh,
And
Okay,
so I
somebody
mean,
else
because I
did.
was like, "Well, who did it then?" I'm like, "I'm not telling you. I'm telling you I found out who did it. I'm telling you I'll fix it. You've thrown me under the bus. I'm not letting you throw somebody else under the bus."
yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it.
So,
I dig it.
I mean, I kind of get it. I've had some other unpleasant things with police officers, but part of it was my fault. I would say the majority of it was my fault. Me
Sure.
having an attitude.
Sure. But again, too, no, 100%. And it sounds like though, but the right thing happened, and you got the apologies that
It
were
all worked
needed
out.
and all those things. Now, which sounds like the way it should be, and that's the way it should go.
Yeah.
That's the way it should go. So many times it doesn't.
Nope.
But that's the way definitely it should go. And shoot, and like you're saying, like, I mean, I know, I've personally, seen, I do the program Take Pause, right? So we get the teens and the cops together, and we go do fun stuff for positive adventures. And I've had the cops call me and say, "Hey, one of the kids that we work with, he has a warrant, right? I see him here. Hey, can you help him get this warrant taken care of? So, because I'm giving him a pass this time, but next time I have to arrest him." Now, I won't say the police officer's names, who he or she was, or who they were, who Z were, because they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Right. If you have a warrant, there's supposed to be, they see a warrant, which totally should really be cop discretion. But then again, I guess you could play favorites and things like that, right? But community policing this is really as a kid, right? He's 18. You're still a kid. This is a kid who, and the thing, the warrant was just for fines for not showing up for something else that was probably like driving on suspension or some bull crap. It wasn't like it was a threat to society.
Yeah.
But that's what you should be able to do, is community policing like that, where then you're able to say, like in this case, the officer's able to come to your dad and say, "Hey, Mr. Bell, your son did this, maybe and then you can figure it out." Community policing should be like that, where he says, "Hey, Ishma, you're a community leader. You know this kid. Get it straightened out." Not only did we get it straightened out, but then he even offered, he said, "Look, I'm off tomorrow. If he needs a ride to court, I'll take him, right? I'll take him off duty. I'll take him to court, right?" That's community policing. That's what it should be.
Which is really one of the things that we suck at as humans, because it's just good communication.
You're right. It's good community. Now, really quick though, before this group started, I've had officers tell me that before they've had these positive interactions with this demographic, these black kids, right, that they came to situations now where they did not pull their gun and escalate things, where before being in the program, they know they would have pulled their gun, escalated things, and maybe killed somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean. When you don't have, we have people policing people that don't know the community.
Don't know the community, don't have the proper communication skills, don't understand the demographic.
There you go.
Don't understand the culture. I mean, there's so many things. And that's one of the things, all of these people that we've let into our country in the last 4 years, they came here because they wanted a better life, or they wanted something free. Some of them, I think, came here because we're probably an easy target for crime.
I say like 90 to 95% of people are the first thing you said.
Yeah, well, I'd say 80. In this
You say
last
80?
go around, I would say,
In
I'd
last
say if we
go-around?
went back 10 years ago, I would say, yeah, that's 90%. But we've had a lot of people that have been brought here from, released from prisons in countries
This is true.
that they just shipped out of their country because they knew they could get in here.
I think I've seen those numbers.
It's crazy.
I think they're pretty big numbers. Yeah.
But most of them, I mean, they don't understand the culture. I mean, look at Christmas.
Yeah.
When we were doing the Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. I want to talk about this.
I want to put a plug in first
What's up?
for our Random Acts of Kindness.
Oh, what a great thing.
I mean, we had a pause. This was our fourth time of doing it. We had a 2-year pause, and after we did our first one because of some
Politics.
politics and communication. But folks, if you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you're hearing this, please go to the Malone website. It is the most wonderful thing in the world, giving cash to people and letting police officers give it to them because they know who's in need.
Yes.
And that really helps heal a community for the police department.
We're going to drop a link.
Yeah.
A couple links, so you can see this in action.
This is the most heartwarming thing that I get to see video of, and that I got to help establish with some other friends. But it really helps and makes a difference to some families who don't have enough money to do everybody. But it's really cool, and the cops that I've talked to absolutely love positive interaction in the community because they don't get to do that every day.
Random Acts of Kindness. Really quick, here's how it works. Donors, anonymous donors, give to a nonprofit, the Clyde Malone Community Center, maloncenter.org. Then what happens is the Malone Center donates 100% of that money to the Lincoln Police Department. Lincoln Police Department then takes 100% of that money, divvies it up into $300 increments that are put in envelopes with a positive message and a resource card. Then those police officers go out to different places in the community where they know people are in need, hardworking people who just need a hand up during the holiday season. And they surprise them with a positive interaction, not a law enforcement action, not a pulling over, we're not pulling over people, we're not knocking on people's doors. No, a positive interaction while they're through the neighborhoods or at community centers, and they give the family, while the whole family's there, not just the parent, while the whole family's there, they present a envelope, again with $300 to the citizen. And it is marvelous. And just to give you an example, 3 of the people at one of the places that they were at giving this money away had just got out of the hospital that day. The way that God works, they got out the hospital, didn't have anything, and they needed this money. One of these people hadn't seen their kids in 4 days because they were hurt in the hospital, picked up their children, and they get this money. It's a beautiful moment for the parent, for the kids. The kids get to see their parents accepting the police, get to see the police helping in a way that they don't usually get to do it. And it's just a marvelous program that spread joy, hope, empathy. It's really God's work. It really is.
And the police department has so many checks and balances to make sure that it doesn't get corrupted, that I am very, very, very impressed with Lincoln Police Department, the way they handle it to make sure that all of the money's getting out to people.
They do a phenomenal job. It's 3 checks on each envelope. They make sure the money gets to the people. It's really the only example that I can give where you can give your money to that 100% is going to the cause.
Yep.
No overhead. Nobody's taking a vacation on it. Nobody's eating a burger on it. It is 100% to the people that need it.
It's just...
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's so heartfelt to be a part of. So lucky to have an interaction with a really good friend that gave me the bones of getting it started. And he said, "You think you can pull this off?" And I said, "Well, let me call my son-in-law." And boom, we were off and running. So I just wanted to put that plug in there, kind of a shameless plug, but it's for a great cause, and would love to have more people in the community participate.
Most definitely. I forgot what we were talking about before.
I know, I kind of I just wanted to put that plug in there.
It was a great side note. It needed to happen.
Oh, we were talking about the Christmas gifts that we were giving out.
Oh yeah. The Christmas gifts. That was, okay, so here's what we're talking about is that
Culture.
the culture. We do, every year, and it's so funny, really coming back up. You remember when we were first doing Christmases together, and you're like, I'd really love to do something where we do some service, where we help people and do service, right? You think it'd ever grow to this?
Well, and
I think you're talking about like serving at the mission or something.
yeah,
right?
I mean, I was, but this has been probably cooler and more heartfelt. I mean,
Hold on.
so
Did you
Christmas
see that
Eve,
picture?
six years in a row, Christmas Eve.
Christmas Day even.
Yeah, I know.
Christmas Day even we give out gifts.
I know.
But really, hey, did you see the picture I sent you yesterday or whatever? Of you. The picture of you
Yeah,
that I sent you.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Pure joy. That's God's work.
It is.
That's God's work.
It's just Christmas is always filled with so many emotions of the people that aren't there, and there's always a lot of anxiety that can go with Christmas.
Yes.
But I got to tell you, the week before when we do the big Christmas thing, us delivering the Christmas presents, the random acts of kindness. December used to like drain my cup.
Sure.
I'd be exhausted afterwards.
Yeah.
And now I'm so full of energy and love and community.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, it's been a blessing. But I think this is the 6th year in a row that we've delivered presents.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. Well, you're right. Since like 2018.
Yeah.
You're right. Like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. We do these different Christmas events, and we work to offer and provide Christmas presents for those in need. And we have these events where you get to come to a big event. It's a family-friendly event. You get to have fun, play games. You get to, hey,
Lana,
hook them up with some water.
when do you
please.
get a chance?
Your chance is now. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you get to, so we have these events where the community comes and it's free everything. And one of the things we do is we give out free gifts, and we work with different nonprofits to do this and different initiatives to do this. One of them is Operation Santa Claus, which is amazing.
Well, don't feel like this is Mark and Ishmael only. This is a whole
Yeah. It's
whole
a bunch of people.
whole bunch of people, and
Thank you.
thank you.
It's but we get the pleasure of helping to facilitate and helping to put some man
Distribute.
hours in, yes, and to make it happen. And when there's not enough, I'm not going to be bashful about it. You pick up the tab.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Pops opens up that checkbook and he picks up the tab, right? Which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Lately, I've been able to do a little bit,
Yeah,
but man, hopefully I'll get as successful as Pops, and I can pick up more of the tab. But this brother picks up the tab on the things that still need to be done. Now, here's the beauty about it. Now, here's what we're talking about, though, when it comes to culture. So a lot of people, they pre-register for gifts and they come and pick them up, and the people that are too late to pre-register, then that's where he comes in and says, okay, let's put the money down and go get the rest of the stuff. Now, what happens is some people, they sign up and they're from a different culture. They do not celebrate Christmas. It's not the American Christian Christmas tradition. And so they come and get the gifts. A large number of the people that come and get the gifts don't celebrate Christmas.
30% at least, I would say.
At least. And then they give, some of them, they show up to the distribution place with a bunch of their kids. You give them the bag that then they're supposed to go and, wrap the presents and put them under the tree so that they can have gifts for their children. But they'll just give them the gifts right there, give them the toys right there. And, and it's not a Christmas thing. And so it's a difference of culture. And I'm be honest, right? Because I was talking to my cousin about this, right? Because I was a little bit, I think this year in particular too, it was kind of rubbing me the wrong way, right? Because sometimes it doesn't feel like the people are grateful or whatever. And so I had some type of hang up on it, right? And so that's one of the things is the cultures are different, totally different. And so here's how I was seeing it, right? I was seeing it like, damn, they're taking resources away from people that need it or would use it better. That's what was going on through my mind, right? And I was kind of feeling like, and I was trying to make a way for at least the ones that you pick up the tab for, not for the things that Operation Santa does, because, you know, that's
all
their
pre-done.
organization, that's what they do, whatever. But at least for the ones that we do, I was like, man, you know, I don't want to do it for the people that aren't really celebrating Christmas. So then my cousin, who's a really devout Christian, he was like, well, isn't that what being a Christian's about? Like, it doesn't matter if they celebrate Christmas. What's the difference, Ishma, if you're going to wrap the freaking presents and give it to the kids, or if they're giving it to them right then? The kids get presents. The kids get gifts. What is the difference? So then here's my backup, right? I was like, okay, so let's say that it's that we have a program that we make for Muslims for Ramadan. At the end of Ramadan, the last day of Ramadan, there's a big feast that happens. You know, I used to be a practicing Muslim, and we go to mosque, and the last day of Ramadan, you have this huge, big, amazing feast. So I said, okay, so what if we did this feast thing, this charity, where we supply food baskets to families that are in need, that want to break their Ramadan fast with the celebration, and so we offer the food to them so they can go break their fast correctly with the feast that they want to, right? Or I don't want to say correctly, but so they can do it in tradition of breaking the fast with their, you know, with that food. And I said, now what if a bunch of non-Muslim, anything, Americans or people from, let's say,
Wherever.
India, or there's a lot of Muslims in India, huh?
But wherever.
Yeah, just somewhere, wherever.
A bunch of Christians showed up.
Bunch of Christians from, like I don't want to give a country, I don't care, but whatever. From Russia. Okay, a bunch of Christians from Russia show up, and they take the food that we had the charity for Muslims to break their fast, right? I was like, wouldn't we have a problem with that, right? Wouldn't we say that that's not fulfilling the mission we're trying to do, or we'd have a problem with that, right? And then he's like, well, what, would you have a problem with it? Is that not the Muslim thing to do, is to feed people? Is that not submitting your will to God and being peaceful, is to feed anybody? Doesn't matter if they're Muslim or not. They're coming to get the food. You want to give them the food. And so he beats me in debates like too much. I really get upset with it.
Well, I mean, I get it.
Mad.
I mean, I mean, I get what he's saying, and I don't think we can let it cloud our mission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, it's no different than the random acts of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Does 100% of that money get to the 100% of the right people? I say no. 85, 90, maybe 95. But I'm not going to punish the 5% or the 95% for the 5%.
For the 5%, yeah. And then also, so when it comes to this, he's like, Ishma, would Jesus care if these kids are opening the gifts on the 25th of December, or just that they got the toys? Like, in Jesus' eyes, what the frick matters, man?
Yeah.
Does it matter that they opened them right there in front of you, or does it matter that they went home, wrapped them, and pretended they're from Santa Claus?
And that's kind of where I got to when we were delivering a couple times, because we delivered some houses that I thought shouldn't have been signed up for it. And you and I had that conversation a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's that cultural piece, and I don't think we can change anything. What we have to figure out a way to do
Get more
is
gifts.
get more gifts, get more food.
Just get more gifts.
Get more.
Get more, yeah.
It's
So our last delivery, maybe it's our second to last delivery this year. Christmas Day.
yeah.
Second to last delivery, I think, to an apartment complex of people that definitely weren't Christian. How happy were those kids?
Oh, absolutely excited. All of the kids have been
I mean,
actually the kids have been more excited than the parents.
yeah.
I mean, no different than when I'm handing out Runzas. Good plug for Runza. Runza does a great job helping.
Thank you, Runza.
Uh,
Runza supports our events that we have.
Yeah.
They give out 500 free Runzas almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Those are, some of those are the same people that come through and want to get 10 of them. And I say, no, one. Everybody's going to get one. If we run out and you're still here in that last half an hour, we still got some, you can take them then.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure everybody that can get some warm Runza in their stomach.
100%. So we go to that family that obviously is not Christian, obviously aren't selling Christmas. Those kids were so excited. I mean, and there's a language barrier too, where the kids know English, but the parents don't.
Yeah.
So when you call the kid, like the parents will answer, and then we start talking English, and they give the phone to the kids, and the kids are like, "What? Gifts? Toys?
Absolutely.
Presents? Yes, please come.
We're here."
And then we show up, and you can see the kids in the windows peeking, like, you know. And then the parents come and they get the bag, whatever. The kids are jumping up and down. They're excited. They're it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Like. I mean, what more is Christmas than that?
It is. Christmas is for kids.
And they get the toys. And so I felt like shit that for even thinking that I should have an exclusive, that we should make it exclusive. Like,
well, the problem was we ran out of gifts.
Yeah, that part too. Oh, so so at the event too. No, point blank at the event. So if we're gonna say we got free gifts, this is by far our biggest year, where we had way more people than we expected. I'd say at least double of the people that usually come to the event, and we had about we had $5,000, $6,000 worth of gifts, I think, and it goes fast because so many come, and we limited it to 4 gifts per family, and a whole bunch of things. But yeah, point blank, we just need more gifts. Point blank, I got to do more. We got to get more gifts.
We need more gifts. We got to go back to doing chili with the Runzas. Yep. I mean, we got to put more work in.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. So really what it comes down to as like I self-reflect is, Ishmael, you got to do more. You just got to go harder.
Well, we got to figure out how to satisfy this external need.
Yes.
For these folks, because nobody was at that event
that didn't need it. You're right. No, 100%. There wasn't anybody there that was just there to be there taking advantage. I don't think. No. I mean, if there was, I think maybe one person that I could think was like, but it's still, you want to judge. I mean, you don't want to judge, and you shouldn't judge, right? You shouldn't.
It was by far the minority. The majority of the folks there, by far,
they needed it.
It was awesome.
I mean, if you stand in line for some gifts, you kind of need it. I'm just saying, So no, 100%.
And so I didn't feel bad for the ones that came like in the last 40 minutes.
Sure.
I felt bad that I didn't have a Runza or something for him to eat, but not having gifts for him didn't bother me as much as it has in past years, just because we did so much more.
We did.
Hauled so much more.
We did. I mean, by far, it was the most gifts we've ever had, like, since we've been doing this.
It was a long-ass day.
Oh, man. I mean, it was long weeks.
Yeah.
It was long weeks. I mean, we set up that for that with weeks. I mean, your storage compartment was full of gifts. I mean, it's the North Pole up there. How we do it.
It was crazy.
Really, the North Pole. But we had to rent a whole U-Haul just to bring the gifts.
But again, after that, my bucket was full. I mean, it was such a great, fulfilling Christmas.
It is. It was. And so I know we got on that with saying like the culture difference and people, that were so many more people coming through the border of America and wanting a better life and wanting to chase that American dream. And I go back to this. In a lot of instances, our international policies have created chaos around the world, and then it comes back to us. Like, we create and destabilize Central America and places in South America.
And in Africa, in Europe, in South America, I mean, Central America, I mean, you name it.
Probably anywhere but Antarctica. And we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to get to Antarctica. There just ain't no people there. But literally, we destabilize things, and then we, the citizens, the people, the real people pay the brunt of that.
The majority of the taxpayers end up paying the brunt of it.
They pay the brunt. And I'm not just talking about people that want to come over. Like I said, I don't think we're against people trying to come here and get a better life. I get it. And there has to be some type of real legal right route, just like in the 30s when everybody wanted to come here and get a better life, right? All the Italian, my Italian ancestors from half of my family, they wanted to come here and get a better life in the 30s and, wanted to go to California to work on the railroad, but didn't make it the whole way. It stopped in Omaha. And we're like, oh, we're here now, ciao. But there is also that component of there are some bad dudes coming in too.
Yeah,
I don't want to quote Trump, but there are some bad hombres too.
yeah. I mean, and I think we have a process. It's not perfect. It needs to be fixed, but it can't just be allowing everybody.
Yeah.
Because we can't. I mean, we've proven it.
Well, nobody does
And
that.
cities have proved that you financially can't do it. You can't feed everybody and house everybody and do it all.
No, you can't. You can't. Well, maybe you can, but the way we're set up right now, we can't.
No.
The way our infrastructure is set up, the way we're set up, we can't. Like, that's undeniable.
And it's kind of like, it's like we need to get away from oil. Well, we have a 200-year or 150-year infrastructure built out around gas and oil.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to start building that infrastructure for being without fossil fuels, great. But we got to build the infrastructure before we can get rid of it.
But we can't turn off the lights before we build new lights.
Yeah.
Like you just can't.
Yeah.
It's. I know what you mean. You can't just turn off the car.
And you can't just force it.
Sure.
It's got to be planned.
Well, I mean, you're making laws in California, right? That says by in what is it now? 5 years, you can't burn any more gas cars. How is that going to work?
It ain't going to work.
I mean, the grid can't support that.
No. I mean, California already has rolling blackouts.
It's impossible.
And they've already limited when people can charge their Teslas.
That's crazy. Really quick, sorry. Big prayers and all the thoughts and things with people in the LAX area that are dealing with those wildfires. I know there's catastrophes all around the world, and I'm not being insensitive to any other catastrophe, but we're in America right now, so that's the catastrophe that we see on the news and that we know of. And, you know, I've people and family and friends in California right now dealing with it.
Yeah, and it's another thing that frustrates me. You know, we can come up with another $25-30 billion to send to Ukraine.
You're right.
But we can't take care of the people in Maui that lost everything, or the people in the Carolinas that lost everything, and we're going to have the same bullshit in California over this. And half of this, you know, some of this stuff in California has been their laws of, well, we're going to let all this water go to the ocean so that this specific breed of fish can thrive, but we're not going to have any water for people to drink or any water to put out our fires. I mean, it's just, we make asinine laws.
Oh, okay, so you know a lot about a lot. Now, when we talk about fire needs fuel, right? And one of those things is oxygen, right?
3 components. It's got to have oxygen, it's got to have heat, and it's got to have something that is combustible, something that's going to burn.
Something's going to burn. How have we not scientifically found a way to take the oxygen away?
Well, we have through foams and those other things. That's basically anytime they're blanketing that, that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The risk is if you do something to disperse all of that oxygen, if there's other humans in that area, they're going to be dead too.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like there has to be like, okay, look, if you believe that, I don't, but a lot of people believe we went to the moon. Or if you, I mean, you know, we have satellites in low orbit, right? Okay, so I think that's a given. We have satellites in low orbit, right? Really, really low orbit. They're satellites. Like, we're doing something. We're doing amazing, amazing things scientifically. I just have to believe that we have some type of, I don't know, big blankets to, when you're in those forests, to just,
well, the first
5-6 helicopters to come and do 2-3 mile wide blanket that just drops on shit.
Not enough stuff, man. You can't haul enough stuff to do it. What we have to do is we have to get back to our logging in a smart way to get rid of all of that old fuel. Mm-hmm. We have to do a better job of managing our forests.
Controlled burns?
No, I mean getting out the dead wood.
Sure.
Getting out some of
but
that
isn't
fuel.
like controlled burns, like that's what indigenous people used to do too. It's like,
well,
they would do like a controlled burn every so often.
But not a lot in trees. You know, but all those dead trees they pulled out to build fires with, to heat their houses and to cook off of and all that. So there wasn't all that dead wood stuff. Now we used to see controlled burns, and you still see them in prairie grass and in ditches and stuff. And there's nothing makes that grass come back better than a controlled burn. Mm-hmm. I mean, a buddy of mine did a controlled burn on
like fertilizing stuff
50
and
acres.
Stuff, doesn't it?
Oh, it burned it all. It was black for 10 days. 30 days after that burn, you would think you just planted brand new grass in all of it.
Wow. Wow.
It's thick, it's luscious, it's healthy.
Why? What does?
Well, you get all that dead grass on the bottom that then doesn't let any oxygen get down there. It's the same thing of if you don't graze. You know, if cattle don't graze, that pasture just turns into a tinderbox. Because the grass grows, hits dormant, falls over dead wintertime. Some of it doesn't come back, so it lays there dead and it becomes fuel.
It's just kindling, just chilling.
And you do that enough, you don't get any oxygen to the roots of the plant, so the plants don't grow.
Oh, I see. I would just think we have some type of better way to control fires by now.
And they can't absorb the CO2 that they need to grow for photosynthesis. I mean,
Sure.
there's a whole lot of bad things that happen.
Sure. But just like you said, we got billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. We have billions of dollars for wars and we make, how many nuclear warheads have we done? How much science, how much scientific money, effort, time, and energy goes into killing? All of it, basically. Why haven't we shifted that to saving things, to fighting fires, to whatever it is?
Because it doesn't pay as well.
Sure.
Doesn't pay big industry as well.
Sure.
I mean, that's
the real of it.
it's not rocket science.
You're
It's
right.
all about money.
Unfortunately.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
I'm not bragging that.
No, I feel it.
But
No,
it's-
100%. 100%.
It's
It's a byproduct of the capitalism that we do enjoy.
yep.
That I wouldn't want it, I don't think, a different way, as in like I'm not promoting socialism, I'm not promoting communism, but it is a byproduct of capitalism,
Yeah.
is that other part. And I just don't, I don't know. I haven't seen a better way work in our modern history.
So when I look at our history and when I look at immigration and I look at all those things, and there's people in our country that thinks our country's horrible.
Sure.
They're not willing to move somewhere else, but they think our country is horrible.
I think Ellen moved.
Yeah, there's been some people that moved
Good
after Trump.
riddance. Good riddance.
Hasta la taco, man, see ya. But people with a lot of wealth are going to other countries
Yeah.
because they can.
Yeah.
And they can probably have a higher standard of living than here, but they won't enjoy the same freedoms.
No.
I mean, I've traveled enough to know
Yeah.
that unless you got a lot of money, you don't survive well in other countries.
Well, and I think you can, like, I think you go to Thailand and live pretty good, right? But I don't think you have the freedom.
Well, and Thailand doesn't take near the amount of money that it does in the
That's
US.
what I mean. Like, you can go to different places, but what I'm saying is, if you go to jail, you can't protest. That's all I'm saying, right? Like right now, even though, you know, even of all the stuff that we talk about, the racism and all that stuff, right? If the cops do something to me right now, we can start a protest. Like, right? You know, if I was wronged right now, I can go start a protest. I can maybe get on the news. I can get some CNN time maybe or something like that. Try that shit in Mexico.
A lot of other countries, you do that, you just end up dead.
Bam. It's over. You disappeared.
Lead poisoning, over, done.
Disappear. You're done.
And-
100%.
And it's the same thing, you know, when we were talking about the death penalty. And we actually have a process
Yeah,
to get there.
we do.
Other countries,
How many other countries could you be 30 years from now or 30 years down the road, shit gets overturned? I mean, that's, I comment if I'm wrong, that's basically unheard of in any other place.
yeah.
Not saying it's perfect here, not saying that it shouldn't be better, but man, where do you have an opportunity to change that shit around 30 years, you know?
For your whole family.
It's 100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
like I said, I've been a few places and I loved them, but when I got back here, I almost wanted to kiss the ground.
what Elon Musk left South Africa for a reason. Could he done the exact same things in South Africa or anywhere else in the world that he's been able to do in the United States?
No,
Absolutely not.
no.
Government wouldn't allow it.
No, definitely. And even if he could have, still maybe it's different now, but the way that America rewards entrepreneurship is like nowhere else.
Yeah. Well, it's
For real.
it's the same way we actually reward failure of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Sure.
I mean, most true entrepreneurs have been broke or near broke at some point during their process of entrepreneurship before they got something right.
Yeah.
And some people had great things, but never really ended up making a whole lot of money out of it. Next Generation did. You know, you think about those things. It's we have a great country.
Hey, look, Don King said only in America for a reason.
Yeah.
Like it's real shit. Like it's only in America. And that's why people want to be here.
And I get it. We just got to
why.
have them come the right way
Yeah.
and the right reasons.
Sure. 100%. 100%. I think the other day, too, I was debating with the same cousin. I was like, hey, man, we're letting too many people in. We can't sustain this. I was just in Chicago, man. It's like, for example, Chicago, you got a lot of city council of Chicago and mayors and everything that black people have worked, I think, really diligently and hard to have, you know, if they have a majority in a place, to be able to actually control that place, meaning the people that look like those people actually are in the authority positions, whether it's city council or
And
government.
affect change.
Can affect change. So now, like, for example, in Chicago, the millions of dollars that are supposed to be helping the inner cities and supposed to be helping to stop gangs or helping to be building community centers or to advance these people that need the help, now so much of that money, most of that money has been shifted to the immigration issue, to where they're paying for luxury hotels and checks per month and food stipends and things like this. I'm not saying I want anybody to starve or to die, but that, and I don't mean to say but, well, I'll say and, I was there personally and I saw the amount of Venezuelan immigrants there in Chicago with my own two eyes on every street corner. And I'm not hating. I mean, a lot of them were trying to make a living, right? They're selling candy bars, they're selling shit, they're selling magnets and little, I love Chicago stickers and shit like that. And they're trying to just make a living. I get it. And there's a lot of resources that are being funneled to them. And that takes away from the black people there. Now, I got other black friends that's like, Ishma, don't start that shit, trying to blame immigrants for the problems of America and all these and all this. And I say, it's just a numbers fact of the matter, is that there's only so much money, there's only so many resources, and they're coming here in a time and a place where it's putting a stress on the other people that are there. That is just a fact. I'm not saying that you have to be insensitive or don't want to help people, but it is a fact that it is putting a strain on these people. And so then he did this to me, man. I had this song back then. I was a really good rapper. And so back in the day, I had this song, and it goes, and there's this lyric that he reminded me of. He's like, I said something like, if the little girl was born just 100 miles north, then her life would be worth more. And I said, that's gross, right? And he brought that up to me. And it's like, man, would you stop bringing my words up to me, man? Stop bringing the good points I made 10 years ago up to me. But then I went back and I listened to the song, right? And I was right then, but I still think as well that I'm right now as well. I feel like both things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Both things. Her life shouldn't be worth less. And she should be able to come to America and do the thing, because this is the land of the free, home of the brave. You bring your tithe, your wealth, and all that shit, right?
But at that same time, you were assuming her life was worth less. She may have had a golden life in Mexico. A little girl could have a golden life in Mexico, and been born 100 miles further south.
Sure.
So I don't think to me, it's not where you're born. I think it has a lot to do with how you're raised and your community and your governing that happens within those countries. It's no different than, we have tried to install democracy, which we're not even a democracy.
Sure.
But we've tried to install democracy in other countries, and most of them have all failed.
100%. 100%.
Why? Because it's cultural.
Yeah.
And you don't just in 20 years change that. It's generational. It's kind of like Afghanistan. We were in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So there was a half a generation that the Soviet Union's tried to do. We did another half of generation. So now we've got 2 generations plus the generations before that. All they know is killing each other.
Sure.
We added to that.
Oh yeah. We came and just 100%. And it's weird. And I think in this case, it was like a healthcare thing. I was like, like a lot of them, they come up here and they whatever. Like let's say they need healthcare, and then because they're not a citizen, they can't get the surgery or whatever. However it goes, but I know exactly what you're saying. It's like
hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Americans go to Mexico for dental work.
Sure, because it's cheaper.
Absolutely.
They get the titty in the ass job.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Get it all.
Get it done.
Canadians.
Well,
of
shit.
Wealth,
I wanted to go to Mexico to get some to get stem cells.
Yeah.
Or to Panama. We go to Panama City. Has the best stem cells in the game happening right now. Right? So no, 100%.
So just because we're America and someplace else isn't America, people are leaving their country probably because they think their country's hopeless. How many people do we have in our country that thinks our country's hopeless? We are not that perfect. We have to control what we can control.
Look. I got to do like a drink champs clap on that. Like you got to. I don't know if you know about Noriega, the drink champs, but they clap when something's real good.
But you gotta. I mean, we've got to love what we're doing and do a better job of it. And I think we do need to have immigration. But we need to have immigration for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason shouldn't be, okay, we can get these people here because they're cheap labor and we can treat them like shit. It shouldn't be. Yeah. It shouldn't be, well, we're only bringing in their best and brightest and their best engineers because we need them.
Yeah.
It has to be a good mix of that. And it's a numbers game, and we have plenty of smart people that can figure out those numbers should be. And if that's 1 million people a year, if it's 2 million people a year, whatever it is, and have a system to absorb that.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, 100%.
And we probably have to with our abortion laws because our birth rates are going down in our country.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
I mean,
100%.
that's another fact numbers game.
It is. But you're right. We do need immigration, but we can't just be an open border.
No.
Nowhere in the world is an open border.
So
nowhere.
If your lawn needs water and you're going to water it, are you going to just turn the hose on and let it run for like 6-8 days?
Of course not.
No. You're going to give it enough water to nourish it. Well, it's the same thing of immigration. We can absorb X number, whatever that number is. I don't know what the number is.
Yeah.
But we can absorb X number.
Yeah.
All right, this is our number. And this, we're going to budget for that number. Boom.
Otherwise, we are doing a disservice to even those people coming here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for real, though, because some of those people coming, let's say you're coming from Venezuela, you're trying to get into a better life or whatever, and then you come here and you're living on the freaking street and you can't get a job and you can't get it. So what type of life is that?
And so you hook up with some other Venezuelans that are in a gang and say, hey, let's do that. So what do?
Sure.
We added to our gang problem.
Sure. Yeah. No, 100%.
How do you, hey,
100%.
man, I want to go across the border. Okay, I'll let you go across the border for nothing if you take these 2 backpacks full of fentanyl across the border and get them to this guy. I mean, so we're our own worst enemies on things we do. I honestly believe Joe Biden thought he was doing the right thing by letting all those people in.
You do?
I do. I think he thought he was doing the right thing.
I don't think so.
I think it was completely sold to him as we need to do this for these reasons. Nobody talked about any of the negative effects.
I think this is the same Joe Biden. And look, I think it's nice that you're trying to give him that. But this is the same Joe Biden that wrote the 1994 crime bill. Okay, this is the same. This is the same Joe Biden that what's the lady that he raped?
Yeah.
I'm keeping it real. I know I like that you're trying to be nice, but I'm not going to give him that. This is the same dude that wrote the 1994 crime bill that locked up my grandmother. So F Joe Biden. I'll stand on that. Comment if you want to, but I'll stand on that. Go look up the 1994 crime bill and tell you about Joe Biden. But however it goes, it isn't working.
No.
It didn't work. It isn't working. And not only that, but like when my wife and I were watching the documentary the other day, kids are dying trying to get across the border.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be. I mean, 16-year-old girls disappearing across the border, getting sold into sex slavery or getting whatever, right? That can't be. Kids getting over here, and we know. They admitted kids are just getting sold off into sex slavery.
Well, and we know the Mexican cartels and the Mexican government, because they're corrupt,
Sure.
they're just marching them across. They're probably busting them up.
They are working. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. And without the policies that we have, or excuse me, the policies we have are aiding to that sickness.
Yep.
It really is. And it's not helping, it's hurting.
I mean, everybody says, Trump's crazy. You're going to put all these tariffs on Mexico. He told Mexico, if you don't stop this, I'm going to put all these tariffs in there and I will break your country financially.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of no different than kind of what he's told Canada. If you don't stop this, I'm going to put all these tariffs on you and it'll break your country. And Canada's like, well, no, you're not. You can't break our country. I think we can.
Well, Trudeau or whatever. And didn't he just resign?
Yeah.
The heartthrob resigned?
Yeah.
Damn. I that was weird.
Joe's
That was-
clone.
Yeah, that was like out of nowhere, man. Like, what happened?
It wasn't out of nowhere. I mean, they've been on him. And
But I didn't think he would just resign, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it was out of, like, I didn't see that coming.
Well,
I didn't see him just giving up.
well, they haven't done he knew he didn't have the numbers and they were going to give him a no confidence vote, which was going to oust him out. And, which is
That's
the same thing that
embarrassing.
happened to Boris Johnson. He got a no confidence vote in Britain, and they ousted him. I mean, he just wasn't going to have his Trudeau name dragged through that as being ousted.
Sure.
So he quit.
So she just bounced.
Yeah.
Just gave up. That's wild stuff. That's wild stuff. Hey, let's end this on something positive. I don't know what that is, but.
Well, we did pretty good in football the last week and a half.
Oh, yeah. We were killing it. We were killing it. Hey, that was your picks were killing it.
Yeah, well,
your picks were killing, man.
It's a we.
We were killing, man. We were killing. I got to do the numbers. I know we're back in the money. We're doing good. It was good. I think the only things that we lost was the little, what was the bullshit that happened last week? Or not last week. The last ones, I think we were off. But
Yeah,
everything else, I mean, I think we were like three cycles straight. We were just bang, 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 killing them.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens tomorrow? Notre Dame, Penn State. What happens? Is Penn State -2? Is it Notre Dame -2?
I think Penn State's -2.
Penn State -2. What happens? The Irish did not look good to me.
I'll be honest with you.
Oh, that's
like-
what it was. Because you like Georgia first half. That's right. You liked the Georgia first half, and then I forgot the other one the other game. But whatever.
I like Penn State in the first half,
Mm-hmm.
but I really think that Notre Dame's going to cover.
You think the Irish are gonna get it through?
I do.
They just didn't have any offense. Like they literally just scored because of everything that happened. It was weird.
The craziest thing about it
I don't
is
believe in Georgia though.
the four best teams, who all got a bye,
Oh, yeah, they
all
couldn't.
lost.
Would you think that's the layover? Think that's just rust?
No,
You think they just weren't the four best teams?
they just weren't the four best teams.
Well, Boise State, of course, wasn't. I did believe in Arizona State, though. I really liked Arizona. Arizona State won that game. Okay, do you see the field goal that got blocked, hit the ground and goes in? That's legal. If he gets touched, hits, and then goes in, it's live.
supposed to be.
It's supposed to be legal. So they're supposed to be up 3. So I liked it, Arizona State. I like Scattaboo.
Penn State's a +1.5.
It's a +1.5 now, Penn State?
Yeah.
Really? I you know what? I never liked Penn State all season.
If you're going to go Notre Dame, you got to go overs.
What's the overs on it?
44.5.
Really? I don't know, man. That one's a gamble. That's a gamble. What's the Friday game? Is that the Texas game?
Texas, Ohio State.
I like Ohio State.
I do too.
I like Ohio State a lot.
6
there.
points is the one that's got me a little bit concerned. I
It's
definitely like
6 in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's like the money line there.
I like the money line, and I like Ohio State in the first half.
First half, yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, that's definitely a 2-teamer. Ohio State first half money line. I love that. Texas doesn't have enough for me. They didn't show me enough against Arizona State, to be honest, and I don't think the Big 12 is that strong. Okay, everybody knows I love Colorado, but the Big 12 is not it. It just isn't right now. Like I said, I love the guys, but the Big 12 just isn't that right now. So, yeah, I don't have, like I said, in Texas, not being able to manhandle Arizona State to me doesn't give me much confidence in Texas.
Nope.
Not at all. What's the next game? Is there a Saturday game? Who else?
No, the next one's the 20th.
Oh, we're down to the 4. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
I'm tripping. We're down to the 4.
We'll be
okay.
down.
Okay. Down to the 4.
Oh, there's got to be.
There's
4 games.
Yeah.
so.
That's it. It's just 4 teams. It's the semifinals, right? It's the Final 4. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's just those 4.
It's those guys. So, who wins it all? Ohio State?
I think so.
Buckeyes are right. Should have took them at the very beginning. I think plus 350. The Buckeyes are right. That Jeremiah Smith. Whew. What a player.
I think athletes, Ohio State and Texas have the best athletes left in the field.
Sure.
Notre Dame has the best ACT scores.
I love their coach, too.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Megan has a crush on the coach.
He's a class dude.
Because she really likes them. They're the way that they just seem to freaking get it done.
Well, here you go, though. So, if it continues on, it would be Notre Dame, Ohio State, because those are both the underseeds. So Texas is getting 6, although they were seeded 5th. Mm-hmm. They're getting 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's given 1.5 points, and they're seeded 7th.
So it should be, if the trend stays, it's Texas, Notre Dame. If the trend stays,
if the trend stays, it's Texas, Ohio. Ohio State was the 8th seed.
Ohio State was the 8th seed because they didn't win the conference.
They didn't win the conference.
That's right.
Neither did Penn State.
Hey, what you think about Michigan beating Alabama?
Not surprised.
No, that was wild. I feel like I had them at some point in something because I was excited about it. Yeah, I did. I took them. I think it was the second half. I took them late in a live bet or something. So I was all hype about it. It was something else.
Well, that's what we should do for fun. Is we should take a Notre Dame, Ohio State, and then take Ohio State to win it all.
Take Ohio State to win it all. So we can do the exact. And say Ohio State beats Notre Dame in the final. Yeah. So I'll see it. That's a good number right now. Still, if you pick the exact thing.
It's like 1,200.
Probably not that much, but it's probably good. Maybe 600. I don't know. I can look it up. Oh, my phone's there. So I'll look it up. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So you heard it from us. If it keeps going, it's Notre Dame, Ohio State.
It's the underdogs.
State. Let's go.
It's the underdogs.
Notre Dame hasn't got one in a long time.
Nope.
It'd be fun to see him get one. I'm not going to lie.
Was it last time Lou Holtz was coaching?
Was that 92?
Yeah.
91, 92 or something like that?
Yeah, and they ran Lou off because they were afraid he was going to beat Nuke's record.
Man, oh man. I liked Lou too. I mean, he was kind of cool. He did the sports casting thing or whatever.
He was real.
I always have a little bit of soft spot for people with speech impediments because I used to be a profuse stutterer. And so, he had the extra too much saliva in his mouth always or whatever. And so I don't know, when I see a person with speech impediment, I kind of root for them. It's kind of my thing. Soft spot for it. That was a good one, Pops. That was a real good one.
It was awesome. We covered a lot of ground.
Good one.
We didn't get into the craziness of 2 weeks from now. I think the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd are going to be...
It'll be some protests and stuff happening.
Well, there's going to be some protests going on. It's going to be shock and awe, some of the stuff that Trump's going to implement immediately.
Right away.
It's going to be...
We'll see.
There's going to be some... Stay close to your grandmother.
I'm hoping that they're all through that. We didn't talk politics at all today.
Good.
I'm hoping we're over that hurdle. All we talked about was the Cadillac out there. That's all we talked about. The Cadillac. They took a ride. They took a ride in the Cadillac car. Whenever I say it, I feel like I'm. I don't know if you ever watched King of the Hill, but Hank Hill's father. He's like, my Cadillac car. That's what I call it. Yeah. Take a ride in the Cadillac car, y'all. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Hey, peace. Love you guys. Hope you're all enjoying us as much as we're enjoying doing this. Stay safe. Love y'all. Peace out.
Bang, bang. Dun, 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 dun.
No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.